think she stole my speech altogether. Thank you very much for hosting the event, first of all, and all of you for coming today to listen about this amazing project. I think Joanna has summarized why the project matters, what the university is going to do once it's up and running, why is it disruptive. But if you allow me for a moment, and you'll indulge me just for a moment, I'm a mechanical engineer from Mexico, and I came to this country 22 years ago. I had worked in industry for about 7 years. I had graduated from my engineering degree in Mexico, and then in Mexico I just went to work first for a cement company, then for a manufacturing company, and I even worked for a sausage making company. Believe it or not, and really there is no meat in those sausages. The one thing that I learned straight away when I joined the first company I worked for is that I wasn't an engineer. So I had spent in Mexico, you do an engineering degree in 5 years. In this country, you do an engineering degree with an integrated master's in 4 years. So it was 5 years, and I went into industry just to find out that I wasn't an engineer. I was still a student. And there were, I remember, that particular company had 200 blue-collar workers, and I was put in the factory as a supervisor, production supervisor of 200 men, and there was just me. The only woman, 23 years old. I had to supervise these people who took the mickey out of me for about 2 months, because of course I wasn't an engineer. And I felt disappointed. I mean, I managed to develop coping mechanisms, and I managed to persuade them to teach me to be an engineer effectively, and eventually I developed the skills. But I was disappointed. I thought my education let me down, and actually I thought in my mind it was because it's Mexico, you know, it's a developing country, it's not very good. So I came to this country, to Sheffield, industrial, amazing engineering degrees, went to the University of Sheffield. It is a very good university, by the way. Surprise, surprise. Same thing. I mean, the educational model is the same thing. You stand in front of a group as an educationalist or as a student amongst 300 people, listening to someone talking at you like I'm doing right. I apologize. I'll make you do something in a minute. No. Just joking. And that's it. Again and again and again and again for 4 years. No surprise that at the end you go to work and you're not an engineer. You're still a student. And the companies that all of us talk to, they say, please just stop doing that. Send us an engineer that can actually join the company and start working. So it is true that what you guys, and so 20 years down the line, after 20 years in Sheffield, where I was really happy, by the way, very much doing well and loved and welcomed, and it was my home. I found out that some random people were wanting to start a university in Hereford. Where is Hereford, by the way? And I found out what it was, and that those innovators, those dreamers wanted to start something from scratch to actually turn engineering education on its head, to get those young people who, by the way, many of them were absolutely disillusioned with the experience and dropped out like flies regularly, because that's not what they wanted to do. They wanted to change the world. They wanted just to do something that really allowed them to innovate, to create, to do. And here you have this group of dreamers coming together to say, well, can we do that? Can we give them that experience of actually coming to an engineering degree in a university that we actually create so that they can experiment, they can innovate with people like yourselves involved in that journey, with your projects, with your real problems, being at the core of that experience. so that when they graduate in an accelerated degrees, not 4 years, but in 3 years, full time, working like actual engineers, but learning at the same time, they can hit the ground running and save themselves some money in the process. They can start generating income for you and for themselves, and for the community and for the country. So when I got a phone call saying, would you like to consider sort of coming here? Of course. I mean, of course. And I think, I was saying to Steve, I met Steve, where is Steve? A good man. I enjoyed talking to Steve very much before. I was just saying, this is just an opportunity to transform this place. It's an opportunity to get people like Gina and Ella, you'll meet in a moment, to actually become engineers and become disruptors. But it's also an opportunity for all of us in 100 years' time to have been part of something that is there for years and years to come, to be a legacy for each one of us. So as a project, it's not easy. I just told you why it matters, why I'm passionate about it, why you should be passionate about it. But it's not straightforward. It's a huge thing. I mean, if anyone ever tells you that starting a new university from scratch is easy, don't believe them. It's not. It's hard, but it's worth it as well. It really is. There are so many things that you need to do to get there. And I've been involved with the project now 18, 19 months or something like that. And in 19 months, what we've achieved is just phenomenal. But it's still a tiny little bit of the journey. So we have written the academic program. We have tested it with 25 university-age people who have helped us co-design the university. Whilst we are going through the validation process, we have managed to somehow raise £15 million in kind and in cash donations. We have a hero here. Sometimes I sit up and I think, how did you manage to do that? Particularly in terms of in-kind donations, because we need that to match the funding that we got from government, so that we can withdraw that funding and we can get going. As a consequence, we've managed to get that funding from government, and now we've managed to get the first building, the learning building that we are refurbishing, so that we can then get the first students. A lot has happened. We are now about 30, 35 people. We have attracted people from different places around the world. Can you believe it? Please do believe it, because not just the young people from around the world have come, staff have come from around the world, because they believe that this matters. So much is happening, but so much more needs to happen. And so I thank you very much for whatever you can do to support this project. I thank you in advance. I have said time and again that a pat on the back helps. Anything more helps more. and so on that note, I'm going to ask my good friends and colleagues, Gina and Ella, to tell you about their experience with us during the last year. Thank you very much.